This episode is sponsored by McKelvey Insurance Group. If you've ever felt confused or overwhelmed by insurance, McKelvey Insurance Group keeps it simple. They're an independent agency, which means they compare options from multiple providers to find coverage that actually fits you, not just one company's policy. No pressure, no jargon, just honest guidance and real help. You can get a quick quote or a policy review at McKelveyINS.com or call 618-623-0080. Thanks to McKelvey Insurance Group for supporting the show.
Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to, yeah. Don't know the time, yeah. Just know that I'm, yeah, one of a kind, yeah. What's on your mind, yeah. We're hard to find, yeah. Beautiful mind, yeah. Still in my prime, yeah. Just know that I'm, yeah.
As we're starting, they say that an Italian's hell is an Irish bar where every day is St. Patrick's Day. That's a line from The Sopranos. I claim my Irish, Karie.
He always says this, like, Italian lore, and I'm just...
Yeah, we need some more of that.
I can get into it.
Oh my God, don't encourage it.
It's quite an opener.
I am so happy to be here. So I get in trouble by Zoe for not properly introducing our guests.
Well,
Go ahead.
because they deserve
Sure.
it. They're going to come spend their time here.
Yeah, I agree.
But normally, just like we like barrel in and we're like, oh, we should talk about who's on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, this episode, no offense to the previous episode, I'm probably the most excited about. So I'm definitely going to introduce our guests with like horns and red carpets for Karie McMullen and Ryan Canaday out of Denver are in studio at Illinois Recovery Center. It's just God shit coming for real that you guys are actually here in person. Thank you.
Yeah. Glad to be here, man. Thanks for the invitation.
Crazy. Go ahead.
I remember because I was an intern with Ashley when you guys took your first trip to Denver to see it.
Life-changing.
Oh my gosh, right. Well, and she got back and I was like, I missed you. What did you learn? And she was like almost speechless. Like we spent like a good 2.5 hours just like debriefing and like connecting dots and processing. It was so cool.
Karie changed her life.
Yeah. I was going to say, did she tell you that we're now best friends?
I think I saw a photo of you guys because I was like, you look familiar.
And then people get jealous.
Oh, lots of jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, about what?
If Ashley has a new best friend, and there's some people get jealous that Ashley spreads her wings, and Karie changed her life. I mean, there's no question about it. At dinner,
as a best friend should. Shout out Sophie Perry.
Shout out Sophie. That's her sister. That trip to Denver was life-changing. We knew what we needed in this city, in this area. We had the treatment center. I was coming in here doing church because, for lack of better terms, Jesus was my sponsor. But it was the Jesus we talked about today, that you talked about today at the conference, Ryan, not the fundamentalist, rigid Jesus, to use some of your language. I thought that was really powerful shit. And I always said that leaving treatment, I found a church that if they let me in, they gotta let everybody in because fuck, I'm bottom of the barrel. I have no business judging anybody. And that's what I found. So when we opened this place and started a church group on Saturday nights, and trying to bring a little bit of that, letting people know when they leave here, there's a community that will love them unconditionally. There was something missing on Sundays at the gathering in St. Louis. As much as we tried, there was something missing. And I was getting pulled by, I call it the civilian life of 8 to 5 business stuff. And there was just this hole in the recovery community that can blend, that can be faithful, that is not, and for good reason, as maybe rigid as some of the 12-step rooms are when it comes to churches and just strictly using language like higher power. Very important stuff for a lot of good reasons. But how do we talk about Jesus and recovery? And here I'm in a church on Sundays. People come, they sit, they leave, and nobody's getting vulnerable. And Matt noticed it, and it was April 10th or 11th of last year, of 25. Him and I went to a blues game. I had just kind of done some business stuff that was helping me untangle from the slow death that is small business ownership. And he said, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. I'm like, thanks. He goes, no, we're going into recovery ministry together. And when Miyawski talks like that, that's not a question. Yeah, it's like
with Ashley with wellness. He's like, you're
Right.
the one that's going to be perfect for this job.
yeah, and it's just
It's called a prophetic statement.
all right. I bet you have that gift with some of your staff.
It happens sometimes.
And he said that, and then I was like, all right, beam me up. And he said, you got to go check this place out in Denver. And that's how we booked our flights. I think our mutual friend Seth, who we'll talk about, he started a free in Chicago, said, I know those guys. So we called about, but we had already booked the flight and called you and said, can we come out? And I remember our first call together. It was you two and your wife, Ryan, Tammy.
Yeah.
And Zoe, some of the, where do we start? And one of the first things Ryan said was, this is a church for people that would normally come to church.
Period.
And that, I mean, we're like, tell me more. Ashley's, how big of a dork she
Right.
is. She's got the highlighters out, the book. Tell me more. And you said, anything you do in church, ask why. Why are we doing this? Why is this music, this? And going through that process helped us
Oh my God.
build with.
I'm
You need to take your meds. That's her.
Well, I already took that.
Okay. That's her medicine alarm. We love that. We're going to get that sponsored.
Where is it?
Zoe's psychotropic alarm, sponsored by Heil Sound. It's okay. We need you healthy.
We also don't do shame.
Not at all, ever. Right.
Yeah,
We don't.
but well, at least Chris and I have like small trains of thought, and I hate that it interrupts
It's okay.
sometimes because
You do
we're
you.
on fire.
We are. I want to kind of, because I can just talk all the day and not give room for our awesome guests. I'm going to put a pin in it, and I want to get back to that call and that trip to Denver that I've said 3 times now was life-changing for Ashley and I, and I think transformative for our church community in the city of St. Louis is a big goal. I don't mean to sound like
No, I was
I know
like,
God's going to do that work. But Karie, Ryan, why don't we start with you guys? Ryan, with you, where you grew up, kind of the first part of the message you gave today at the Beyond Conference, and we'll just go from there, because I think it's all how you got to where you're at is huge in this, and probably the foundation of this ministry.
Well, I can tell some of that story, and you can cut me off when I go too deep into it, too far. And Chris, I would love to come back to why that was life-changing for you to come to Denver, to come to Free, because I'm telling you, it's and this is not me trying to play the humble card, like, oh, I'm just so humble. It's truly a humbling experience when we get those calls. I remember talking to you and Ashley, and thinking, man, this is so cool. You guys want to come out and see what we're doing in Denver? It's always a thing of, oh, you think we're cool? Like we're doing something cool? I mean, we think it's cool, but you mean other people think it's cool?
Right.
And I never want to lose that. I never want to lose that kind of that mystery, that gratitude, that oh, we get to do this. Like I don't want to lose that.
The humanity in your rooms, in your building, that are crystal clear for people in recovery. There's so many people out in the world that have kind of lost sight at certain levels of humanity, which is heartbreaking. And to see that they found a home in a community, that we have a place. I mean, it's life changing.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. I could talk all night about that Denver trip.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I grew up here and born in this city of St. Louis.
Really?
Yeah, born here in St. Louis, St.
Wow.
John's Hospital.
Wow.
7 miles away from where we're staying because I had to look it
Local.
up. Born here in St. Louis, raised in, we moved around a little bit. St. Charles, St. Peter's, Lake St. Louis is where I spent most of my childhood.
Bible Belt Central.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
really is.
Oh, then we moved to Lake of the Ozarks.
Capital.
Oh, wow.
That gets even more Bible Belt.
Deeper.
And I want to be careful with this because I was raised in evangelical fundamentalist Christianity, and you don't know it when you're in it. You just know you're just doing the thing that is handed to you. And what I mean by that is we had solid answers. We had the truth, and we had categories of certainty. We knew who God was, and I said it this morning. We knew who to hate. We knew who to vote for. Everything's laid out for you, and you don't ask too many questions. You don't wander off the path
Because doubt is bad.
Doubt is bad. It's threatening.
Right.
So you learn very quickly not to doubt. But then what happens when you hit this crisis and you have all these questions and all these doubts come up, and then you have to suppress them. Keep them down. You just got to have more faith. You got to pray harder.
Right.
You got to trust God. And if you have these questions, it's because of lack of faith, a lack of trust. And what I can say now, it was a long process, but I used to just bash it. I used to bash the place I came from. I used to bash Missouri. So when I moved out to Denver, I would bash it.
Sure.
But it might be, well, some of it might
From
be fair.
Denver.
Right.
But it's also unhelpful. If you're bashing the
Exactly.
place, what it does is it shows you haven't had any healing yet.
Right.
When I left evangelical Christianity, it was easy to bash it. I had a lot of anger.
Right.
I had a lot of resentment. But staying in that place of anger and resentment towards the place from which you come is not a healthy place to stay.
Right.
I want healing, and I had to do that in my step work. But here's where it all started to crumble for me.
Real quick, I was going to say that for anybody, but it's also a cornerstone for people that get to a place of recovery. In our thing, I mean, nothing leads to relapse quicker than anger and resentment.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead. Because I still find myself, you know, and I wasn't raised like that, but just seeing people bully the shit out of people from pulpits or from this rigid fundamentalist Christian faith, and I get mad at that.
And we did so with the Bible as our weapon. Karie was making fun of me last night because in my upbringing, we referred to the Bible as a sword. In fact, we had sword drills.
Nice.
For like Bible verses where you like flip through and find it.
You've been there.
Flag dancers.
Oh, yeah.
Triggered, so he says.
Not triggered. It's just it was so hard. I was dyslexic. No one.
All right.
Anyway, keep going.
So it all worked out just fine until my brother was the addict alcoholic in our family. Not the only family member, but the only one in the immediate family. I was the good kid. I bought into it. I was active in the church. I was a leader in the youth group. And
Just down in the Ozarks?
yeah. Lake of the Ozarks, Osage Beach. And I remember being so angry at him because...
Hey, your brother?
Yeah. Angry because why can't you just stop doing the drugs? Why can't you stop the drinking? Why can't you stop landing in jail? Why can't you just get your life together? And so the anger came from you're bringing shame into the family. And this is embarrassing, man. It is embarrassing to have to tell people where you're at one more time. And it was a lot of pain because I loved him.
Sure.
I loved him. He was my best friend. I wanted to protect him, and I'm watching his life fall apart.
What's the age difference?
3 years older. So he was 3 years older than me.
That's like hero level to have an older brother.
And this hero moment happened. He got clean and sober. We prayed for him every day. We did all the right things. We prayed for him. We loved him the best we could. Me and Mom would get up so many mornings and pray on the porch, and God save him, rescue him, save him from this darkness. Later in high school, he went off to a program down in Cape Girardeau.
Okay.
Got clean and sober. Teen Challenge. You ever heard of Teen Challenge?
I have.
Yeah. We could talk about it later.
Yeah.
But he got clean and sober. And in my mind, this was God did a miracle for us.
Right.
God answered our prayers, and this is how God works. The vending machine, the Deus ex machina, the God out of the machine. Just pull the lever, and you get exactly what you want.
Man.
So it was a big miracle in the family. I go off to Bible school, another fundamentalist institution up in Michigan, and I was there 1 month, and then Mom called and said, "You need to come home. Brandon's been killed in a car accident."
Holy shit.
And my world went from everything made sense, and I know who God is, and I know the Christian path, and everything got turned upside down.
Right.
And how did God let this happen? So it's a hell of a thing to have happen when you think you give your life to this God, your career to this God, you trust, believe, have faith, and then that all falls apart.
Right.
What do you do? And that's when fundamentalism stops working for many people. Certainly the case for me. When you hit a crisis in your life, fundamentalism works great. All those black and white answers, all those categories of
Right and
certainty.
wrong. Yeah.
Right and wrong, and here's how you do it, and here's who God is, and just play the game by the rules, and everything works out. Well, what happens when it doesn't work out?
Right.
What happens when God doesn't act the way you think God is supposed to act? Then it all comes crashing down. And what happened in the middle of that was, so I left Bible school. I remember asking my Old Testament professor there some real questions. They were like honest questions.
Sure.
This was not me trying to be defiant. This was me like trying to make sense of faith.
Yeah.
And he
And you're what, 18, 19?
yeah, 18 years old.
The
18
kid?
years old. Yeah, almost 19. And he essentially told me, "You're defiant. You just want to create God in your own image." And I remember thinking, dude, I came to you for honest questions. This is what you're going to tell me when
Right.
my heart is like breaking into a million pieces. My faith is crumbling. And you're telling me I'm defiant?
Your hero older brother is gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he died in a relapse. He got clean and sober, relapsed, got in a car accident, and he was the drunk driver, which took me a long time to admit that, because I didn't want people,
Sure.
talk about shame. That brought a lot of shame. I could say he was in a car accident, but I didn't want to admit he was the drunk driver. He was the only one killed that day.
Yeah, I know I can, that's a level, you were like trying to protect even his image. You didn't want, yeah.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to be able to
At
say
least
that out
5
loud?
years.
Holy shit.
At least. And the reason I say that, when there's a stigma, a shame that is associated with it, of those addicts, those alcoholics, those drunk drivers, and I'm not by any means saying drunk driving is a positive.
No, nobody's mistaking that.
Yeah. So
Drunks, junkies, they got names for us.
And that's the thing, we dehumanize it. So I was so fearful of, you guys don't know my brother, you won't see his heart, you won't know him, you're gonna dehumanize him and refer to him as one of those people, another statistic, and that was way too painful.
And then they won't have to grieve him if they can just take all the humanity out of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
5 years to carry that.
So, and what happened in the middle of all that was, I picked up right where he left off, which was baffling to me because I was the good kid in high school. I was church leader, going off to Bible school. I was the one my culture looked at and said, "You're going to be a great leader in the church." And here I cannot put down the bottle. And a lot of it, I had to do work in this, in my 12-step work around this. I did not know how to let people know that I was falling apart. I didn't know how to let them know that my God was crumbling, this God that I trusted in, my faith. I didn't know what I believed. I was so angry. I was angry at this institution of addiction, and I didn't even know how to voice that anger. And then I become the addict alcoholic. And that was a baffling thing for me, that I picked up where he left off. I would have never guessed that would have happened.
Did it when you first started drinking, did it temporarily numb the pain of losing your brother?
Okay, dude, when alcohol hit my throat, I had this feeling last night because St. Louis was my first drink.
Really?
Was here in St. Louis. When the very first time I took a drink, I can remember the feeling. Like that went all the way. It just went throughout my body, and I remember having this thought, like, man, this is a crazy good feeling. Why is the church trying to keep me from this? Why are Christians, especially evangelical fundamentalist Christianity, say no to drinking? Why is this a bad thing? This has a way of taking away like self-hatred.
Right.
This has a way. I felt like I was floating a little bit. And I knew from the first drink, I'm going to chase this feeling. I will get this again, and no one's going to find out. So it started with hiding.
Holy
It
shit.
started with hiding.
It usually ends up there. That's
No, I
wild.
didn't drink with people. I preferred it, even the way it started was the same way it ended for me. Drink alone. Don't let people know. Just keep this thing hidden.
That is, and you were 18, 19, 20 when you first started down this road?
I dabbled in it in high school. I
Right.
drank a couple of times, not many times.
Not like this.
At 19, 20, really 21, it really took off in my life.
And before you moved to Denver?
Yeah, because after my brother died, I came back home to Missouri, and that's when the wheels were falling off of Ryan's life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I thought was religion's going to save me from this. I just got to go. I wanted to go to Denver because I love this city. Grew up skiing there, snowboarding. So I'll move out to Denver. I can finish my biblical studies degree because that's all I knew.
Okay.
So I'm going to finish my degree. I went to a university in Denver, and it turns out things just got
Drinking
worse.
and still
But
maintaining
and functioning, and on the outside things looked okay.
and that was really important. That was important for you. Is that as long as nobody knew,
As long as no one knows I hate myself, as long as no one knows that I have so much guilt and shame in my life, as long as you can think I'm still a good Christian leader, that's all that's important. I mean, that sounds trite to say it, but that's really what mattered.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I wanted you. It wasn't about an image. It was I had way too much fear of you finding out who I really was. I had too much fear of if you know who I really am, you're going to turn on me. You're not going to love me.
Would you consider yourself like the good kid or like the easy child between you and your brother, like growing up?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was because there wasn't any space for you to be anything else? Like, do you think it was like you were socialized to kind of be this like, I'm the easy child, I'm going to make it so easy for them to like love me, make it, because you watched your brother be kind of the opposite?
Yeah. That's a good way to say it. I watched what it did to my mom.
Right.
And her heart just break over and over again, and I was very protective of her.
sure.
Yeah.
And I thought, whatever I do in life, I can't cause that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got a DUI at 21,
Oh, you did.
yeah, in Denver, right outside of the college, man, I almost made it back.
That's how it always works.
Yeah, I got pulled over, and there's a whole story there, but I remember calling Mom that night, and this was like 2 years after my brother was killed of this. And I remember hearing the fear in her voice. You were drunk and driving and what?
You?
Yeah.
You're I wonder if your facade now has a crack in it. If you
Yeah.
were hiding it from her and
Yeah,
that
and once
happened.
it gets a crack, the whole thing it starts cracking. So family started saying things to me. Mom started saying things to me like, "Hey, you just had like 16 drinks. Is everything okay?" And my go-to line was always, "Mom, you're seeing me when I'm on vacation."
Right.
You don't see
Special
me the other,
occasion.
90% of my life, which I did the same exact
Sure.
thing. But I'm on
God, we're
vacation.
good
I'm letting
liars and
loose.
manipulators, aren't we?
We learn.
It's good.
We learn.
When you were saying earlier about, and you'd mentioned it today that there's often conversation with your brother. There was usually glass on the other, in between the two of you. If he was locked up. And why can't you just do this, and this, and then our family will get back together. It'll heal. If you get right, our family heals. There's such a, here at IRC, when people to this day, and I've said it on multiple shows, so I'm sorry for being redundant to anybody that listens, but it's important because when people say what sets Illinois Recovery Center apart from other treatment centers, and my first answer is our family program. We bring, and it's a part of the everyday curriculum. It's not an extra. We don't start working on it when you get discharged. After your blackout period of detox, we bring your family in, make sure they're healthy, that it's a healthy group. It's not, if you're a female, and we're making sure you're not going back to your abuser or trafficker and bringing them in to work the family program. We're going to do some vetting. But our director of family programming comes in Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's an all-day Saturday. It's Wednesday afternoon visitation. People have brought kids, and they start working on this together with a clinician, and it's all about education, breaking down bullshit myths that if Ryan gets sober, our whole family goes back together again. That's not how it works.
Right, it's not the only...
If Brandon was your brother's name, if he got sober, would mom just go back to being, no, that probably wouldn't work that way. Yeah. Because, people get mad and resentful. Just stop drinking. You have the power to fix our whole family, and you choosing not to. And that can really start to, I can be like make people deadly codependent, and then so we start work education. Knowledge is power. What are healthy boundaries? How are we going to help Ryan come? Is he coming home? Is he going to sober living? What are going to be some of the expectations? Let's talk about going through some scenarios, because the last thing you want is every time that you get in a mood when you're right out of treatment, mom thinking, oh my God, he's going to go drink. And she does. My mom did it, and she walked around on eggshells. I actually stayed with her for 6 months after I got out of treatment. And we got through it, thank God. But I wish we had this type of programming for her sake, for my sake, for what healthy boundaries were, and you work as a team. And there's so many myths. Like, if Brandon, you just stop drinking, our family will be perfect. And that's not fair to Brandon. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your mom. Yeah. But I was hearing that as you were going through it, because a lot of people do. I think that's the norm, as it's a disease of a family that we see. So to be able to unpack that here before discharge has been the results, the feedback from family members has been incredible. You'll meet the director of family programming. He's a part of the underground now, and he leads our underground group. We have 5 groups that meet after the service on Wednesday nights: AA, ACA, NA, which it fizzles a little bit. We just haven't done enough good marketing. We're getting out there, outreach. We're trying our hardest, but there's an underground group for addicts and an underground group for loved ones, which is kind of an Al-Anon take out. It's our own thing, so we definitely weave in Jesus into the 12 steps. But Kevin runs that, so you'll get to meet him Wednesday night. So you got your DUI in Denver. Call mom.
Yeah, and things I don't have to tell you or your listeners, the disease just progresses. Mm-hmm. Things get worse.
Now you got more shame to numb.
Yeah, and you can't stop. So I made so many promises and so many good efforts, trying to switch over from I'm not going to drink wine anymore, so I'm just going to do beer. I'm not going to do brown liquor. I'll just do white liquor. I don't know why it always ends with vodka. Why is that? That's how it ended.
It was the first cheap plastic jug, and they say it's odorless, but I could smell it from a mile.
Yeah, I believe that too.
That is funny. I've done all those games. Yeah. I'm not gonna drink on Mondays and Tuesdays, but then I would start going through it. So it was every day that ended Y. But wine and beer, no more whiskey.
And I think the biggest thing that changed for me was When I got sober, I had a 2.5-year-old daughter. And I shared this morning, we had another one on the way. Tammy was 9 months pregnant.
Almost here.
Yeah, yeah. And she would tell me leading up to that, she says, one of my greatest fears is you're not going to be sober when I go into labor, and you won't be able to take me to the hospital. And so I'm deep in this disease of addiction, and we say self-centeredness is the root of our dilemma. It's our problem. And when she would say that to me, I didn't say these words out loud, but I'm thinking, what does this have to do with me? Like, yeah, I might not be able to take, when I start drinking, you know how it goes.
She can still drive.
Yeah, or call a taxi. Back then it was a taxi. Call a friend.
Wait on a cab.
Yeah, you don't want me to get another DUI, do you? With you in the car, and then so my mind would do crazy shit to spin this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
If you don't, you have to own it.
Yeah, and who wants to do that? Who wants to look at themselves in the mirror? Who wants to do the self-reflection, which is everything we get to do. Yeah, we get to do it in recovery.
Yeah, I almost, the 12 steps does so much good work, and it's starting to get out of that box of just folks in recovery. And there's so much good stuff in there that is hard at first, but it's so rewarding to look inward, man.
And what that did for me, getting sober, January 7th, 2013 for me.
So you woke up on your couch, you said?
Yeah, I woke up on the couch. I was passed out all the time. I never...
You go to bed.
Yeah,
right,
very rarely slept with my wife, so I often say getting sober was... I got the gift of sleeping with my wife again. Got 4 kids out of that deal.
There you go. Congratulations.
Two more after that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and it's a story of I popped off the couch so
Sure.
I could make it look like I'm fine. I'm fine. Hey, I'm fine. I can do this. I can maintain.
And you're a pastor.
Yeah.
This whole time.
I'm a pastor. Could not figure out how to leave the church parking lot and turn right to go home instead of turning left to go to the liquor store, especially on Sundays, because that was my day to drink the way I wanted to drink. And so this was a Monday morning when I got sober.
Oh, those Monday mornings.
Yeah.
Sunday, Monday.
But I get to the bottom of the staircase. It's like 6:30 a.m. She's getting ready to go to work, 9 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
And she's at the top, and I see her, and I'm like, oh, man. She's got the empty vodka bottle and tears coming down her face.
Fuck.
And she says, Ryan, what are we going to do? And I don't know what... If I could explain, I wish I had words around it. It's we call it grace in the Christian tradition, the mystery. For some reason, I heard those words that morning, and it allowed me to encounter something I have never encountered before, and that was the gift of desperation. I was totally desperate in that moment, and I remember like pounding the kitchen counter, saying, "God, I don't know what to do. I've prayed to you. Don't take this away from me. I don't know what to do."
When I wanted to, I wanted to raise my hand. You were on such a roll this morning. The word that stuck out to me in that phrase she uttered to you was "we."
Yep.
Was there something about the word "we" because I was like, what are you gonna do versus what are we gonna do in your most lonely, vulnerable, isolated moment? The word "we." What are we we're gonna do this together. I don't know. I mean, it's your story, but I heard that and I was like, yeah, that's a shift. And even the way you tell how you were yelling at Brandon, when are you going to stop? Why can't you just stop? You know what I mean? And as a kid, you don't, but for her to look at you and say, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And having met your wife, she's a badass. So
she's a good one. She's a good one. It's, well, I don't want to get too deep into psychology here. The inner child. Karie loves to talk about the inner child.
Me too. I'm like, what did your parents say?
It's my favorite.
But I can simply say, and I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know this until probably a few years ago. I have abandonment issues.
The best of
Where's
us
Chaz
do.
when we
Yeah,
know?
my story tells me if I don't behave properly,
Yeah.
if I don't live into this narrative that you've created for me,
I won't be taken care of.
yeah, I won't be worthy of love.
There's a 12-step program for that, isn't there, Karie?
What's
There
the name
might
of that?
be. One of these days, I'm going to get him to do it.
What's the name of that 12-step program?
ACA.
Yeah.
I have the books in the office. One of these days, he's going to actually pick them up.
Teach me the ways.
I out my wife's fellow travelerhood in ACA on this show often.
And what is the second A for?
Alcoholic. It's adult children of alcoholics in dysfunctional families.
I thought there was some anonymity in that, or no?
Oh no, not there. It's perceived, but she's my wife. I can say that.
Oh my!
Sorry, she's very protective of it.
Actually, I don't think there is anonymous in that one. Now that you say that, and I don't think I've ever realized that because it's adult children of alcoholics and other.
Too many A's already.
Yeah, there's no anonymous in that one.
So I'm in the gray.
All right,
which is interesting. I didn't know that until just this very second.
I can't. So all night when we go to dinner,
are my favorite.
when we go to dinner, I'm going to make fun of her because we get done at 7. Zoe serves at Underground, and she's on pizza duty, and people grab their slice and kind of find their meeting, and Ashley runs with. She can't be late to a room. She runs with her book and her highlighters. She told me the other day, she's like, I'm halfway through the red book.
It's a big
fucking book.
Has she done the yellow workbook?
I don't know. You'll have to ask
talk
her.
about
How many books are there for this
There's a
program?
lot.
That's what I'm saying.
I said to Ashley,
Sounds like too much work.
Can
I
I,
know
get like a what do they call it? Like
Cliff Notes book of it? Yeah, sure. I'm like, Ashley,
what you know?
I can't wait to tell Karie. There's people that have been doing ACA for 20 years and probably haven't read the whole book, and you're halfway through it page for page, and it's humongous. It's bigger than the big book, they say. So
It's
She's
fat.
doing it for her.
yeah, she's like this world-class student and perfectionist and all of that. So the inner child abandonment stuff is I've heard addressed in we had a guest speaker, a storyteller at Underground, and she told she's from California. I'm noticing a pattern there, and she talked about ACA, and our ACA chair was in the room that night, and we kind of waved, said to come, we have a meeting. We showed the laundry list, and I think 5 people from our small group immediately joined ACA. They read that laundry list and was like, "Oh shit!"
What are you talking about?
So I think there's 14.
There's 14 characteristics, which are basically all the things that will identify you as an adult child. So all of the reason, basically the characteristics of why you are the way you are. And one of them is that you actually you are an alcoholic, you marry one or both to fulfill your sick abandonment need. So
he hasn't been married, but she's 14 for 14.
Yeah.
Can you fucking relax?
Well, I mean, she had to at 10 tell her dad to leave because he was an alcoholic.
So I handled it already. So
Yeah, right.
I don't need the book.
You're good. You're fine. You're fine.
I guess I just lost my pizza girl to the ACA meeting.
Maybe.
So you were, I mean, you're talking about your inner child and feeling, I mean, that makes so much sense the way in this right or wrong, black and white, dogmatic, fundamentalist. It's one of the quotes that I don't know if somebody said it. Miofsky taught it or said it in the sermon. That's always that I love. I might get it tattooed. Is that the opposite of faith is not doubt, it's certainty. Yeah. And you talked about it today. Tonight. You talked about it this morning. And I wish I fucking knew it all. I thought I did an active addiction. I thought in my 20s, I thought I knew everything.
Well, and it's so interesting too that the like very rigid Christianity, that path is like there's something in Mark which is literally one of the gospels that's like I can't do it word for word, but something like, Lord, I believe, help me in my disbelief. Like everything's both always, and like that's literally part of the gospel. And people were like, not that part. Next, like,
Yep.
What did you share today? That was it Matthew that he left a certain part in?
Yeah, beautiful story that we leave out all the time. Post resurrection. So when Jesus rises from the dead, he tells his friends to meet him on top of a mountain. He says, "We're going to talk." And Matthew drops in that line that says, "When they arrived, some worshipped, and some doubted," which is crazy to read.
It blew my mind, today when you said it.
But it's very intentional, I believe, from Matthew's part.
Yeah, they wouldn't have left an accident in the Bible, right?
Because it's not a great way to tell the story. It's like it's a total buzzkill.
Here's the Messiah, but we doubted him.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and if you're trying to convince people that Jesus is who he said he was, just don't add that part. Just leave that out of it.
Yeah.
But he adds, and some doubted, which is, so it's this closing of a gospel that all of it belongs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, I know what it's like to just believe and you're good. You don't ask me questions. And sometimes I'm envious of those people. And then I look at it and say, I'm not really, because I've been formed by an examined life. But there's something on the face of it really beautiful about just someone who says, I believe, and I never have any doubts or struggles or questions, and my faith is just firm, and you will get lifted up for that. People around you will say, you're so strong, you're so strong.
Right, prayer warrior.
Yeah, prayer warrior.
What do you
yes.
do in your southern accent? You just say yes and amen, or
Yes and amen. Yes and amen.
Bless your heart.
I love saying that.
And it's always it's a connotation of okay, he's talking, I'll shut the fuck up. It's never in a positive, for sure. I picked up on it. So you stopped drinking January 7th, and you went into did you start a program?
Yeah, I went right into Alcoholics Anonymous.
Okay.
So grateful I did. Still a program I'm a part of today. And what it did for me, well, and I talked about it this morning, I just saw some really powerful things in there. I
love it. If you forget, I'm going to bring it up, because part of your shit, I was fucking teary-eyed. There were people that worked for the gathering texting me like, no, this is this guy. You don't wonder why we're doing it. This is what, so they heard it. And so go ahead.
I saw something so, and I couldn't make sense of it at the time.
Sure.
It was so beautiful, and I know we overuse this word sometimes, authentic, but I get down in this basement of a church, and these people are talking about God, like all the time.
Of
the church where I was serving as a pastor. I'm hanging out with 50, 60 alcoholics
in the basement.
Hoping and praying they don't find out I'm a pastor, because that was my greatest fear. That was my greatest shame. If people find out I'm a drunk and a pastor.
The people upstairs.
Yeah. Well, if anyone, I didn't want anyone to know.
Okay.
I mean, I have to let these people know I'm a drunk. I'm one of them. But
sure,
many of them did not know I was a pastor upstairs. And it took some.
This is like a movie scene. You would go and to the closet and change your put on your robe, and nobody would know.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but this is really it was profound what you said today.
So I would go downstairs and think, man, not only do they talk about God all the time, but they talk about God as if their life depends on it.
Bingo.
And it was so real. It didn't feel like, they're just bullshitting as they don't really mean that. I gathered really quickly, they mean it. They're not wearing a mask with this. They actually mean this. Somehow has saved their life in a way I could never experience religion doing.
Right.
I always tried I wanted religion to save me. And they're talking about a God, a higher power.
Right. You can be religious about anything.
Yes. That was really powerful for me. And so I was always interested in, man, how do we do that upstairs?
Right.
What is it with the stairs? What
is it with the basement?
Right.
And how did they get there? And I figured that out pretty quickly. Well, because we were miserable. We were dying. We hated ourselves. We hated the world. We hated everything about what we were doing, but we did not know how to stop. We could not put down the substance. So that was an amazing thing for me to see.
The juxtaposition, if I'm using that word correctly, it's a big one for me, of the Sundays upstairs and in what we've coined for the Wednesday night service is, we don't want your Sundays best, we want your Wednesdays worse. We want no masks. And there's a disconnect in the best churches on Sunday services, not letting people get to that authenticity or that no mask vulnerability that you're seeing down in just a basement of where you're going upstairs to preach at,
with people who smoke, cuss, on
going
the outside.
through it. Yeah.
So it was this
but they don't want people to know that their marriage is on the rocks, or that they're really struggling with one of their kids. There's a disconnect, or there's all kinds of shit. But you go in on a Sunday and everybody's dressed up nice, and they sit there and they worship and try to put it it's like the Instagram picture.
Yeah.
They want
Still
everybody to
most
think
segregated
that
hour.
Ryan's got it all together and he's this great Christian. Or one of them. I mean, that is gotta get fixed, and it starts with you. It starts with us, because it's not just a recovery thing. It's a realness that I think that churches are desperately missing and lacking in a lot of places.
Yeah, because I think it stems from that fundamental fear of, if people see who we really are, the whole thing's going to come crashing down. And I would say, yeah, the whole thing does come crashing down, but it's needed. You need the whole thing to come crashing down.
Up is not
Yeah, so that the new thing can...
It's built on sand. That's a biblical thing.
That was a good biblical reference. Man,
Do you know the
you're like a pastor.
There's a dance.
Built his house on the rock
Oh, yeah, yeah.
rather than the sand.
She
We'll teach it. I'll
went
teach you
to
later.
she went
Yeah.
to a college too. It was like a Christian
I learned
one.
it before college.
Oh, you did? Shit. All right.
Yeah, this was Sunday school stuff,
sorry.
man.
Okay, keep going.
Carrie, you don't know that dance, do you?
I do not
God
know
bless
that
you.
I only
We're still
understood
teaching.
with the dance
Me and
moves.
Carrie are yeah.
It's the only way I could understand it. I had
That's
to get
good, though.
all my everything engaged. It wasn't a... Anyway.
But can I say this, Chris?
Yeah.
Because what recovery allowed me to do, so with academia, I was able to build a new image of God that I actually believe is more faithful to the scriptures, even though I would be called the false prophet, the heretic, all these things today. But I actually believe it's still more faithful to the scriptures. So you can do that up in your brain, so academically, but it took me getting sober to rebuild a relationship with a new image of God. So I could talk about it,
Yeah.
but I had to get sober to experience it, and the people in recovery helped me do that. Getting to that place of nothingness, getting to that place of desperation, getting to the place where you have to say, I don't know. Everything I've tried has not worked. Everything I thought I knew about God, it's not winning. It's not getting me anywhere. So it has to be more than an intellectual project.
Right.
And that's what recovery did for me. It's still doing for me.
Yeah.
We're gonna need you to extend your stay now through Sunday, so I can have you come preach it in detox. We want to talk about people that are at their most real, authentic, like there's just no dressing, there's no bullshit, and thirsty for hope, and in this vacuum of recovery, you get to see it every day. There's real. Listen, we're going to lose a lot of people we love to this disease. There's no qualms about it. On the flip side, you want to go to a place and see real transformation and quickly. I mean, it's a gift of this space. There's people that are performing miracles daily. It was a miracle for. There were so many people that said I would never stop drinking. It's a miracle that I was able to get sober. You told the story about the Jessicas today. I mean, the two real life miracles. Even when the one said I'm 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
And
What was the story?
yeah, could you share their? I mean, just the high. Could you share that
Yeah,
story?
I'll share a very high level. It was.
If you want to,
yeah.
you don't have to. I wasn't at Beyond.
Well, you really missed out. You missed out on all the fun today.
So I've heard.
She's mad she didn't get invited to dinner. You can come to dinner.
I told him I said thank
We'd
you
love
for
for you to come.
flattering yourself for thinking I'd want to go to an 8:30 dinner, but I'm good.
Ashley and Carrie are we're gonna get them some espresso.
I took a nap.
Okay, good.
She did.
I know,
She got a nap
you
today.
had to prep. I was like, if it was like 4 p.m., I was like, I can't do that.
You've seen this a lot in your space, but you shared a story about two women
Yeah.
from complete different strangers.
Strangers, never met each other. Both their names were Jessica. Both of them, one, and I want to be a little careful what I say publicly.
Yeah.
But she said to me, she said, I died last week. What do you mean? This is an odd thing to hear. You died last
From
week.
somebody that's
Yeah,
standing
prove
in front
it.
of you.
Where's the pictures?
Right?
But she thought she relapsed, thought she was taking a line of coke. It was a line of straight fentanyl.
Fuck.
Died in the bar paramedics had to Narcan her 9 times to bring her back.
When you said 9 times today, I gasped. And I'm in this space.
Yeah.
It's happening so frequently, and first responders are not having enough Narcan on them.
Yeah.
Because it's so powerful, this shit.
Everyone should have Narcan. And so
we noticed you guys have it at free.
Yep.
So we have it at under. You have to. And I have it in my car.
Yeah. It's not an endorsement of the drug. People say, no, you're endorsing, you're causing people to want to get high. No, we're not. We're trying to save lives. Keep them alive so that they might get a chance at recovery.
Because, right. Yeah, no, I can get on a tangent about.
But we see it all the time, and Karie could talk to this too, that it's miracles all the time. You look out at our people, and you know this being in the recovery world, you look out and you see all these miracles, and people can tell you about that miracle. And I barely mentioned it this morning about Easter. So a lot of my people will say, oh, I can't really do Zombie Jesus Day. Pastor, I know you like Easter. That's something you have to do. But Jesus just coming back from the dead, I don't believe in stuff like that.
Go look in the mirror.
Totally. This is an easy one in recovery. You don't believe in resurrection? And we have to reframe it to resurrection.
Yeah.
You actually do believe in it because you are living, breathing, walking miracle resurrection. You were dead and now you're alive. That's called resurrection. You had nothing and now you have the gift of breath.
Bingo. Resurrection.
That's Easter.
So
the Easter sermon is always kind of fun at free.
I bet. I got out of treatment like a week before Easter, and Miofsky had me working the car duty. He's like, "You're serving, you're getting involved," and I was no position to say no to anybody, so I was flagging the parking lot and everything in my orange Gathering T-shirt.
We need photos of this too.
Yeah, but fast forward a year later, Matt talked about a couple people in his church, and he used my story as a resurrection story. I mean, it's people can think about it the way it took place 2,000 years ago, or they can look in the mirror and, especially in recovery, our real life. I mean, right now, resurrection stories, and I'm spitting image that happened.
And we say, we can't go down that path, not that far in a belief, but it's like, wait a minute, we believe God does for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Like, yes, God can do resurrection. Why are we struggling with this one intellectually? We see it.
So you work the rooms. You told a cool story today, which we love her and are praying for her health and Nadia Bowles-Weber. I didn't know that you knew her as closely as you do.
I don't know her closely.
Well, you had a cup of coffee with her, so that's pretty cool. She came to St. Louis for that Red State Revival thing she was doing.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was awesome. It was great. We went. It was me and Ashley, Chaz and Holly, and a bunch of people went, and it was great. And I think it was just a couple months later, and she announced that she's battling some health stuff, and I think she's pretty sick. But so we follow her Substack. But when you told that story, that was, Ashley's got a little hero worship. She loves her. And,
I didn't know that.
Do you know who she is, right?
Yeah, Ashley introduced me.
You're right. She's right up your alley.
So you have really the same worship.
I wouldn't say worship. I don't see her content a lot, but I've heard like her stuff on social media and stuff is really good too.
There was a guy that I met at church in a core group right out of treatment for about a year into really trying to just put myself in the right places and in meetings or in core groups that they call it, the gathering, and his name was Jay. And he passed away a couple years ago to some health complications, too young, was a great guy. And he told me one time, have you heard of this Nadia Bowles-Weber? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm new to this game.
Defeated.
And he's like, you'd love her. She loves Jesus and says fuck a lot. And I was like, she's like, so she reminds me of you.
Check.
Perfect.
And check.
Because I had done, and I was like, all right, so I'll check her out. And she curses a little bit. Probably doesn't say the F word as much as I do, but it's incredibly profound. So you had mentioned today that because this is important. I thought of this when you were talking about your anger and resentment towards the fundamentalist church and how you've kind of gone past that a little bit. What'd she say to you in that coffee meeting about because the title of your sermon today, if that's what because it was you spoke for a while and was lead from the your scars.
Leading from the scars, yeah. Yeah, she said a line that stuck with me, and that was, I suggest you do. Well, first she asked if she could make a suggestion.
Okay.
It's a polite thing to do.
That means it's coming.
Yeah.
Chris, you should try that.
Okay, got it.
It means I'm going to tell you exactly what to do here. And that is, don't do ministry from your wounds, but rather do ministry from your scars. And I remember thinking, what's she talking? No, she just doesn't know me. What's she talking about? But it's very true.
Now, 12-something years later, you're preaching from it.
Because I wanted to start something before I even got sober. I want to lead people towards healing. I want to help people. Oh, that's great, Ryan. That's cute, but go get some healing first, and then let's talk about how to help other people.
You can't make it about other people. You have to deal with it for yourself.
Totally. You got it. It goes back to, and this is what the steps did for me, allowed me to look at myself in the mirror, do self-reflection, forgive my past.
Right.
And when I say forgive, I mean let it go, release it so it doesn't hold power over me. I had to do that with the fundamentalist church. I did with the fundamentalist institution, with principles.
Fair wounds, deep wounds, I'm sure. But and then for you to say that earlier, that getting past that anger, resentment, those wounds are scarring up, and there's so many people, which is a part of your ministry, it's addicts, loved ones, and
spiritual refugees,
people that have been just like fucking bullied and broken by the church.
Yeah.
And so to be able to help them, like, because people have so right in their anger is so valid for being shit on and bullied, and the gentleman that shared his story on your video today, I don't want to tell people, staying angry and leads to resentment, which is not a healthy, place to be. It can lead to some relapse stuff. It isn't. So to get to the healing.
Yeah. And I so badly wanted to be understood because, well, first I'm an Enneagram 4, so I don't want to be misunderstood.
Jesus.
That's my greatest fear.
Sweet Jesus.
Uh-huh.
I'm an 8. Such an 8 is what it's never when I'm doing something like sweet and kind that, oh, you're an 8, baby. No, she doesn't call me baby anyway.
You're
What's
such
wrong
an
with me?
8. Yeah, we never
God,
get
you're
that.
such an 8.
That makes a lot of sense for you.
Thanks.
Well, Carrie's a 9, and my wife is a 9, so I get along with 9.
I love a 9.
Sarah, pastor of the Clayton, our pastor Sarah is a 9.
Oh, that makes.
Yeah.
All my best friends in college were 9.
What are you?
An 8.
God bless America. Such a fucking 8.
8-wing 9. Even though
I don't know
everyone
my
tries
wing.
to.
Ashley made me do
It's
that
a
early
7.
on dating. She was like, I'm going to need you to take this test. She checked my background on CaseNet.
As she should.
And then
every other woman who goes on any date ever.
And then she made me take the Enneagram test.
Yeah. I love her.
And she said, that's the man I want.
Right, yeah.
What'd I do to get some?
Check once again.
I was signed up for foster parenting classes after that. I loved her. What I wouldn't do.
What?
Nothing.
Okay. System 2 processing.
So I brought that up to say.
Right, yes.
I so badly wanted to be understood, but man, it goes back to the St. Francis prayer. It's better to understand than to be understood. And so when you can understand your past and make sense of it, and I understand this was the thing that was handed to me, and they weren't like, this is all they knew. They weren't trying to hurt Ryan. They were doing what was handed to them. And once you have a bit of an understanding of what it is, doesn't mean you have to agree with it or go back to it. I can't. But you can begin to forgive it. You can begin to let it go.
It stirs some form of compassion, I think, when you can it can. Yeah. And that's super healthy because your ministry is, a lot of us circle the Venn diagram's a whole circle.
Yeah.
But there are people that have found your space that are just brutalized by a church, and they find a home at Free. So you're pastor in the church you're at, and then talk about the start. What got into you to start a church out of your backyard? Because I think that's some real heroic shit.
Gosh,
Yeah.
backyard ministry, I love that.
For real.
Yeah, I miss the backyard days.
I bet.
I miss it.
You told us on that phone call that you had a YouTube playlist and some speakers out there, and you guys were worshiping in the backyard.
Well, it wasn't speakers plural. It was one speaker, one Bluetooth, about the size of my phone, and man, the days were so simple.
Sure.
Yeah. So what led us to that? And I feel like I've told this story 1,000 times. Karie, you're probably so tired of this story.
I will
but,
never get tired of the story.
Don't project onto her.
No, I won't project. No, it was. I saw the need, and here's how. I stayed very quiet in my sobriety, my recovery for 3 years.
Okay.
Because again, I had all this shame. I didn't ever want to do anything in recovery. Man, I just wanted to get sober.
Right.
So I didn't want people to find out. I didn't want this to be a part of my story. I wasn't like, I'm going to get sober, and then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start a church around recovery. None of that. So I stayed silent for 3 years. And then 3 years
That's
in,
a long time.
Wait,
Yeah.
silent how? About specific things or just completely silent?
Totally silent. No one, I mean, my
Just your AA
recovery
group,
comrades knew.
Oh,
AA knew.
So
My
you
wife
were
and family knew.
speaking. You weren't like mute.
Oh, no.
Oh, I
yeah,
was
good
like,
question.
damn.
Buddhist fucking. You got a Buddhist monk.
would be
silent retreat for
I don't
3
think
years.
that would be possible for him.
That's what I was.
He didn't go to Tibet. In
Sorry, some people do that.
Some
I don't
people
know.
do it. That was not me.
Brendan Manning.
I stayed quiet in my recovery.
Word. Okay, I'm there.
Didn't want people to know. 3 years in, that's when I started feeling I was kind of a late bloomer in recovery. Things started clicking for me around years 3 and 4. That's when I felt I started to understand some of these deep principles that other people got on like 36 days. Anyway, I went public with my story with the help of my sponsor, some mentors, on a Sunday morning, all 3 worship services at the church where I was serving. And I was scared. My hands were shaky. My voice was, I was scared. I didn't know how this would turn, how it would turn out.
I just want to pause for a minute because that's not the Ryan I know. And you say you never get here. Sick of hearing the story, like to where where God has taken you now in 10 years. Since then, that was a different. I mean, that's yeah. Now, that's
But I think you're missing a very important part of the story of like
tell.
why, because the funerals that you were doing, like you need to say that part.
Oh yeah, I didn't say that this morning, did I?
I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
Ooh, tell us.
Karie's the best in the business.
So, well, let me keep going. So I get to the
3 services.
3 services. People were very kind and gracious. And then Monday morning, my email box was filled with emails from people in the community
blown up.
saying, how'd you do that? How'd you put down the bottle? My son or daughter struggles. My mom struggles with pills. It's taking everything from the family. How'd you do this?
People bearing their souls
yeah.
to you. Yeah.
Totally. Because when you
And you've
take
been a
off the
pastor
mask-
for a long time.
Well,
for 3
3
years. And
3 years.
you gave them permission.
And some people,
green light.
I could see them doing the math. They're like, wait a minute, you were drunk when you got here? Like, damn right
You're
I
like,
was.
don't focus.
That's not the point.
Don't focus on that.
Forward.
Right.
And so when I get to church the next Sunday, I see my people, and I thought, man, we have a huge problem. That people you're sitting next to someone who's going through the same thing you are. They've been going through it, sitting together for years, and you don't know it because we've been silenced by what we call shame. We've been silenced by it. We don't want people to find out. And we're in the affluent white suburbs of Denver, and shame is like riddled there. So that started us asking the question, what would it be like? And that's a beautiful question to ask. What would it be like if we just created space, not start a church? We never talked about starting a church. In
Just
fact, I
creating
said
space.
no to church planting in my history. I said, I don't want to do that.
Sure.
I'm comfortable here. Comfort was very important to me.
So Abram went, he said.
So Abram went. That's exactly right. But
listen.
We started asking the question, what would it be like to start a place for people like me, addicts, alcoholics, people like Tammy, loved ones of addicts and alcoholics, and then our spiritual refugees, people who've been kicked around by religion. They've been told they don't belong. I was just seeing so many of my gay friends were like, yeah, I can't be a part of the God stuff anymore. I'm like, well, what do you mean you can't be a part of the God stuff? Like, yeah, the church kicked me out. And it's like, well,
Okay,
hold
but
on.
what about the God stuff?
Yeah, that's different, right? So no, you can still be in. You can still be in.
And we want you.
Yeah, well, we need you.
Yeah.
We want you and need you.
This episode is sponsored in part by Light Source Psychotherapy. If anxiety, panic, trauma, sleep issues, or big life transitions have you feeling stuck, their team works with kids, teens, adults, couples, and families in Belleville, Illinois, through teletherapy or even walk and talk outdoors. Evidence-based care like CBT, DBT, EMDR, and more, built around what matters most to you. Learn more and book at findyourlightsource.com.
And then so we opened up our backyard. We talked about it for about 13 minutes. And then really, we didn't have a huge plan laid out. We had 4 Saturdays laid out. And then we were going to, like, I don't know, not do it anymore or just see where it went. And
that's funny. It
just kind of grew. It grew. And that year in 2018, we just opened up the backyard. That year I did 6 funerals. 5 of the 6 people were under the age of 35, and they were all drug and alcohol related.
Oh,
so sometimes you're going after this thing you have like passion after, and you're like, you want to do it, but then you get these little reminders of, not only do you want to do this, you kind of have to do this.
You have to.
There's too much suffering for you to say, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go back to that thing where I was comfortable. Yeah.
We will lose people that we meet and love in this.
Yeah.
We will comfort those that have had their whole lives wrecked by losing a child, a spouse, a brother, sister. And it's like fuel on the fire to this. We cannot, because those that we've lost to this, their light shines through us, through the work of their families that are telling their story. We had a girl on last week whose sister was 8-year anniversary of her fentanyl overdose death, and she tells her story and has been a big part of her grief journey. And her name was Michelle, and you know, she shines on through her sister Teresa. We have moms that cannot stay in bed; they have to get out and tell their sons or daughters stories, and their lights shine on. And we have to keep. The stakes have gotten greater, because the shit on the street is 100,000 times more deadly than it's ever been. There's no margin for error. Kids are... I spoke with the mother. She's coming on next week, whose son at 13 was at his friend's house.
He was 10. Sorry, she tried to say that the other night. Anyway, keep going.
Who? No. So Tiffany... her son was 13, that did a line of what they thought was cocaine, and his toxicology report came. They had 44 grams of fentanyl, so it was she calls it a fentanyl poisoning, which is why, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Like, that's what it is to even everyday drug users that die of a fentanyl overdose are dying of a fentanyl poisoning.
Yeah.
People that do what it was heroin, which you can't get anymore, fentanyl, know how to use without dying. They're not trying to die. They're trying to not get sick. But when they get a poisoned batch, and if you go into an emergency room and you say, I have Zoe with me, she's overdosing, and then you get, there's that stigma. But if I say I got Zoe with me, she's been poisoned.
Yep.
The reaction is different.
Yep.
And there's this mom is like trying to push to change that vernacular, because it's a big difference in word. Yep. It is because of the stigma.
It's a reframe. It's really
big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing these funerals was, and I'm glad you reminded them. I've done a couple. We've lost people we've visited, and as guests of the funerals. And I remember one time, about a year ago, alumni, it finally had passed away from the disease, and his mom gave a eulogy, and she said, I have to stand up here today and be honest that there's some element of relief because I haven't slept for 15 years. And the disease has been so hard and to hear a mom wrestle with that. And I'm so grateful for her vulnerability at his funeral because it's reality and it's so heartbreaking. Her heart was destroyed in a million pieces. She's not any less sad because she was able to verbalize that there was an element of he's finally at peace. And the phone call that she feared forever for 15 years isn't going to come anymore. I mean, I was just like, it's a life-changing experience to hear a mother talk like that. So to your point, doing these, I mean, there's no turning back, right? Yeah.
Tammy and I have talked about it often of the only thing worse than doing it would be not to do it. So you kind of kick and scream because it's hard. Anytime you start anything new, whether it's a business, a group, a project, a church, whatever it is, it's
risky.
It's risky and it's hard work. It's like you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly, your life kind of revolves around it, even when you don't want it to. It kind of does.
Sure.
And so you can always step out. You can always say, "No, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done." But only kind of. Because the only thing worse than doing it is not to do it. Like if that thing is beating, you have to do it. You have to do it. And there's lots of gratitude along the way to be found in it. There's always the heartaches. I mean, we see it all the time in our community, and it's sad. It's like heartbreaking stuff when people relapse, people that you love, and we've lost way too many to fentanyl. And I say that. We've lost just as many to alcoholism.
Sure.
It is still the number one killer, and I don't ever want to. People can forget that. We can talk so much about fentanyl, and it's deadly. So is alcoholism.
Yeah.
It actually is taking more people. It just doesn't make the news as much because it's not this one-time overdose thing. It's
old news.
Yeah.
And I've known people that have died with their liver taking them out from the alcoholism, and it is nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Too. But if you didn't keep doing it, am I right to say you would have never met our friend Karie?
Oh my goodness, isn't it true? Karie should tell you the story of. She corrected me this morning and said, "Well, it's not that I hated you guys."
Screaming.
She was scared of us. Well, I shouldn't tell it. You should tell it.
Ryan, he said, "Can I make a suggestion?" And then he said, "You should tell your story." So, how did you find
Free?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you're from Southern California.
I'm from Southern California. I moved to Denver in 2019 when I was 2 years sober. I was really tired of driving around my same hometown and seeing all the places that broke me. And it was on my 2-year sobriety birthday. I went to this beautiful place near the beach, and I had this beautiful experience, and it was very clear to me where it was like, you got to get out of here. Like, it's time to go. And so I literally went home and I told my husband, he's like, "So how was your day?" And I was like, "Well, apparently we need to move."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Cool, where are we going?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but we got to go." He's like, "All right." And I had, I had twins, I asked my twins, they were getting ready to get out of 5th grade, and I asked them, I'm like, "So you guys, like, would you be up for moving
Are you
somewhere?"
down?
Really?
100%. And they're like, "Okay, where are we going?" So I literally Googled best places to live in America. I did not know a single person in Denver, not one.
No shit.
Yeah. And we moved to Denver, Colorado because of Google. So thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
So
It didn't say St. Louis?
It did not say St. Louis.
Yeah.
There was a couple of other ones in Texas, and I wasn't going to go to Texas. No offense.
Heart.
Yeah, that's not for me. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be for everyone.
Sure.
And so in Denver, I was driving. So I found a recovery community, but I would only go to meetings that were not in church basements. So I would only go. Yeah, like I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it just, again, I love to say that it wasn't that I was anti-church. I grew up with absolutely no church experience, like nothing, like probably less than you can even imagine. It's less than that. Like, so everything I learned, I either saw on TV, what people were doing, or my friends. I had a lot of Jewish friends in Southern California. They would go to temple or have a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, and I would get invited to like the party aspect, but I didn't understand what they were doing.
Big parties.
They were so fun. I love a good bar mitzvah. And then a lot of friends would go to like youth groups, and all I wanted to know is what happens in those buildings. I was so fascinated. Right. And they all looked like they had so much fun, and they would go away in the summer. But I was never allowed to do that. And I would actually get grounded if I tried to go to youth group.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I just had my family origin story that's a whole separate topic.
Understood why.
Yeah, it's a interesting. Anyway, so, but when I moved to Denver, I'm driving up and down the street that we're on. It's a very busy street, and I was going around, and I saw this church building, and all of a sudden it would pop up, like free, at the time it said free spiritual community. And I was like, that's interesting. And I would drive up and down that street, and I was like, well, I was interested, but not enough to like Google it or like figure out what happened there.
Sure.
Google made my last big decision, so I'm like, I really need to consult her.
I reached my quota of doing brave things by moving to Denver. And so I would just like drive up and down and whatever, pass it every day, didn't think anything of it. And then it was one day a friend of mine actually said to me, and she's like, let's go get a cup of coffee. And I heard there's this really good 9:30 meeting. And I thought she meant like, go to a Starbucks or something. And I didn't realize. So she texted me the address that morning. And I'm just like, I trust this woman implicitly, like,
just a girl.
Sure.
Right? I'm like, wherever you go. And like that morning I hit the directions and I was like, oh, fuck. That's where we're going. And I was like, oh man. And I sat in the parking lot for probably about 5 minutes longer than I needed to,
Sure.
but I needed to make sure she went in first because
Yeah,
I was not about to walk in by myself. And one of the beautiful things that I love so much about Free is we have this coffee shop. And I remember the girl who was working at the coffee shop, and my friend was actually standing at the counter when I got there. So I was like, whew, thank goodness. But she was talking to the girl at the coffee shop. And this girl was Alex at the time. And she was so kind. She wasn't creepy. She wasn't like, here's a Bible. Like it wasn't any, you know what I mean? It was just like, this is what we do here. And I went into the meeting. I went into the 9:30 meeting, and not to break his anonymity, but Ryan was in the meeting. And I just was very cautious, and I had gone to the meeting several times, but I would never talk to him. I was just like, I knew you were a pastor. I knew you were something to do with the place.
Okay.
Stay away from that guy.
No, not stay away from that guy, but like,
me.
we're going to have nothing in common. We're going to have nothing.
Like, why bother?
Yeah. Like,
Was this at the building that I've been to?
yes.
Okay.
Like, we're just not going to, we're not going to be friends.
Such a cool building.
It's a very
I can see where
building.
it catches your eye.
You're like, what's going on in that building? It's very interesting. And then when you go inside, you're like, something's happening in here. But at first, I volunteered in the kids club because I was a drunk mom until my kids were 8. And so I felt I had some spiritual amends to do. So I was very certain of like, you know what, I'm going to let you guys go do your spiritual thing in the big room. And I'll watch your kids. I thought that was the best thing that I could do, was to help another mom go get her spiritual fix. And it wasn't until one day where I was sick and I couldn't volunteer in the kids club. And I was like, well, I might as well like figure out what this thing is, right? And so that was the first time I ever listened to Ryan preach. And I wish I knew what it was. I don't remember which topic it was.
I'm sure it was so powerful and overwhelming.
I mean, it was life-changing because I am here now.
Sure.
So it had some power.
Real quick, you refer to it like you do every day. You call it the big room. Explain. It's one of those things that when we open the show that you guys do things wise and call things, why do you call what you're referring to and people think of a church as some people call it the sanctuary or where the fucking pews are? Why do you call it the big room?
So one thing that I think Ryan does so beautifully is he can explain church to a phrase that I hate, but the unchurched, right? So people who, I hate that word so much.
But
I like it
all the time. I hate it. I
understand why you said it.
I know, but anyway, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even today, it just sounds a little bit.
Got baggage.
I'll do some work around it, but so he makes the Bible accessible. He makes Jesus accessible. He makes the building itself accessible. You don't need to know anything. You can walk in and not know like what a sanctuary is or where to sit or what you do. You know, when you walk into maybe it's like a Catholic church or like when there's like the bowls of water or like you're like, I don't know what to do with this thing.
Take a drink, or
right?
what?
Like you just don't know what you do when you go into that building. I didn't know what people do when you go into a church building. And so one of the beautiful things is all of those barriers are taken away at free. Like you can walk in and it's very self-explanatory. Go into the big room because it's the biggest room.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
We really dumb it down for people. The biggest room is the
Explicit
big room.
instructions. It's like it takes out the exclusivity of like, oh, a sanctuary, something, a room where nothing bad ever happens. Great.
Yes.
That's not what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and
That's
people hear that
awesome.
word and they're like, I'm not going in there.
Yeah. It's a farce.
So you went in finally because
I finally went in.
and that was it. You heard.
I sipped the Kool-Aid and now I am fully like submersed into this entire thing because it's absolutely beautiful. And so, yeah, I mean, I first started just as a volunteer on the home team, which is like just the greeting people where it was like that first face that you see. And it was like, yeah, this place isn't so scary. And I was that person first. And then they were doing this, they had this community ambassador thing come up, and for me I was like, so I had not worked. I was a stay-at-home mom since my kids were born, so I hadn't had a job in sobriety or really adulthood, and that job came open, and I was so nervous, but I was like, I asked Ryan and I was like, do you think I could do that? And he was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, of course.
What is a community
I totally
ambassador?
forgot about that.
Yeah.
The community ambassador.
What is that?
Remember?
Is it?
We needed someone to go around to different conferences and I don't know.
Events in the park.
Yeah, events.
Outreach?
Like
Outreach.
the face.
Bingo.
Yeah. Outreach.
What do I
coordinator.
say?
That's what churches
Every-
call it. Outreach.
Do you hear me say? Because I don't. Well, we call it treatment.
Yeah.
And Ashley in the social worker field calls it outreach. We've started. We're, I think, 120 days almost in to underground, and I say it every day that the hours in the day, I'm doing some outreach. I need to do more, and that's. I keep saying, as soon as I can get, but I need a team. We need to do outreach in. I know of, I'm here at IRC, but there's 4 or 5 other treatment centers in the area. There's not enough beds, so we all try to have a good relationship with each other. There's tons of sober living houses. You guys met Zach today, who runs our sober living house, but there's, so we do some trivia nights, but that is so important, that role, community ambassador. That's what I thought what it did.
Yeah.
I was guessing. So you took it?
I took it. And that was my first job.
Like you are that's like perfect for you. You can go get somebody to come.
Like, come hang out with me.
Right? Yeah. You're not.
Don't you want to be my friend? Yeah.
Wait, you're not a church girl. Like,
I know.
You know what I mean?
I'm like the poster child of free. Yeah.
Right.
I fit all 3 categories.
So how long did you do that?
I probably did that for about a year. And then there was another job, right? And then that was this, that's this job, right? Yeah, I went from this job. So then he was going to hire a full-time. And at the time in the church world, this would have been an associate pastor, right? Ooh. So like, I know. But again, we had to change the title. Good. And I was, right? And I was very crystal clear. And that, even that, how that whole thing came about. I know where this is going. But even how that came out, like I did not put myself in that running. I was helping in that interview process, like coming up with the questions, coming up with like, okay, this is the person we need. I was 100% did not see myself in that role. One of my major character defects is playing small. I don't see my value. I don't see that who in the hell wants to listen to me. I have nothing interesting that you, right? Like this, but this is what happens on the inside.
Ashley has it, and it is a gift for me because I don't think I think if she could see half of her value, I'd be fucking yesterday's news.
She's trading you up.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, chill out with God, just not
easy, Tiger. Easy.
Zoe.
Yeah, but it's true though.
Amen.
I can't do.
Can I just interrupt for a moment on this story?
Please.
Yeah, Chris does
so
all the time.
we had this job description, and it had because one thing that's really important to me is not to preach every week. I don't want to be. I need a break sometimes from content creation. So I said to Karie, I'm like, if this weren't in the job description, would you be interested? And she's like, "Oh yeah, totally."
That was her non-negotiable.
Like,
she's
non-negotiable.
Like, let's take that out, and you're hired. I mean, you had to Did you interview? Did we interview?
We did, but we had already lined up people. Like, I know, and I was like hyping them up too, because I'm like, "You'd be so perfect at this." But I believed it. Like, I believed in my core. Like, you are going to be amazing at this job. Right. And I, again, my character defects can hurt people. And I hurt people with that behavior. I have to own that. And it was literally after we had this signed up. And Ryan's like, again, that's when he comes to me. I'm like, Ryan, you're fucking killing me right now. Like, you can't ask me this in like the 9th inning. Like, you can't do this to me right now. And I think we interviewed. I think we did. I don't remember that.
Formality at this point.
Yeah, it's a formality, and if I could go back, I'd do that whole thing differently. Like, wow, we could talk about that later. But here's the very interesting thing you need to know. Mm-hmm. Karie says, "I will never be up there," and I'm like,
challenge accepted.
I've been around the block long enough.
People who say never.
Yeah,
let me tell you about how I would never drive a minivan. All right.
You don't have a minivan?
I did at one point.
I didn't know that. Okay.
I used to.
Ashley and I watched Karie deliver a very powerful sermon, about 30-minute long, powerful sermon, like she'd been doing it all for her whole life.
Was this back in, when was this, May?
It was on my sobriety birthday, October 25th.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Ashley's birthday is the 24th. I remember we watched it together, and we were chatting in your online stream on Facebook Live. Yep. So...
And now people are asking me all the time, when's Karie going to preach again? And I'm like, you know what? Because Tammy told me, you can't, she's a 9. Karie and my wife are good friends, by the way. She's a 9. You can't pressure her into this. I'm like, yo, I didn't ask her to do this. But she did it one more time. She's a 9, too.
Wait, you've preached again since then?
I have. Yep.
How did I miss that? Okay.
It was beautiful.
I believe it.
It was in January when he was also gone.
So just recently?
Yeah, in January.
When you were you traveling, or did you have your health thing?
Traveling.
Okay.
And it was because in my head, I'm a very slow burn. Like, it takes me a really long time to say yes to things. But he was going on vacation with his wife and kids. And I love his wife, right? And his family, like, they give so much to the community. They give so much to Free. And they got to go on this once-of-a-lifetime trip down to El Salvador.
That's right.
And it was like, you know what? The gift I could give the Canaday family was the presence of their husband, their dad, right? And so I was like, you know what? How about I take this one so you don't have to do a sermon while you're gone and you can come back.
You literally had to do it.
Right?
This, never would preach a sermon.
I know. And the funny thing is I'm also signed up for May too. So
All right, I can't wait. So
it's exciting.
But she's never gonna do it.
Right. When
Never.
when Miofsky sent us out to Denver and wanted us to do this, I told him, yeah, I can do this. I can round up some guest speakers. I can have, and he's like, okay. And then he knew where it would end up. I kept saying, the folks starting this, they need somebody in recovery that is great as our other, and the other pastors at the church have shit to do. And I finally went to him and I said, hey, we need to talk. I got a little bit of an issue. I think there's a chance that and Ashley thinks that somehow I'm going to have to try to figure out like a 10. He goes, I was just waiting for you to get there. You're going to be, he said the P word, pastoring this. I go, quick, don't say that word. I'm not, it's offensive to those that have went to school for this shit. I can get up there and tell people that Jesus was my sponsor and facilitate some kind of conversation as long as I don't have to get in a theological war with Buck and Bible Thumper. And he's like, you'll handle that too. Just pick a scripture, talk about it in relation to recovery. He's like, Chris, you do a podcast, you can handle it. And I haven't, but it was my first. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to sprinkle in these guest speakers. And now I'm looking back, it's like, how the fuck would I have done that? Every Wednesday night, found somebody to come preach and book a personal story. Holy shit. Yeah. So I guess, he knew where I was going. So I think Ryan knew when he asked you what that eventually. And your story and your voice and being a woman up there is huge, man. I mean, for that community. Here comes. Yeah.
And we need that.
No, you're right. What? We need that power to the people.
Oh my God, he likes women, I swear.
Love them.
But I also think what's interesting is I do fit all three categories, right? And that's something that is.
Explain that.
So I'm an alcoholic.
Okay.
I'm also.
Hi, Karie.
Hi.
I didn't know if I should say it. If you're not an alcoholic, do you say it first ever?
I say that sometimes. Do you know how hard it is for me in any context when I introduce myself to not say, "Hi, my name's Karie and I'm an alcoholic"?
Chris did that on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
it's like a habit.
PTA meetings doesn't matter. I want to tell the whole world I'm an alcoholic. Like I don't. It's not even. It's not something that I hide. It's not something that
shame.
I'm. Yeah.
Well, I was just you just stole my punchline. It's good because I was going to say, what do you not do it free?
Shame. We don't do shame.
That is their tagline. It's more than that. It's like the thesis of your ministry. I feel as you were telling your story, there's a beautiful light. We'll have to share a picture of it that you guys had made in the grand entrance of your building.
You almost called it a foyer, didn't you?
I did.
Very churchy.
Is that
Chris.
churchy?
Okay, it almost was, but go off.
And it says we do not do shame. And then we went up to Chicago to see Seth launch his, and that it's the brand. And I've shared that in Underground, and I've told, like, what I've noticed is that I can do shame a lot. You, Ryan, can in your story, but we as a community, it's a lot harder to do shame together.
Yeah.
And and that's kind of what it's easier to tackle shame in a room together, and then it helps us get it down to like the singular where I won't do shame anymore because I got these fucking people got my back. And I've felt that since leaving Denver with that phrase and how important it is. It's life-saving.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I could go. I was telling Ryan this morning when we walked into that big, massive church space, and if I ever get to the place where I lose the awe of what I do every day, like how is this my life? How am I here with you guys right now? And it just blows my mind. But the thing that it's not even just for me that we don't do shame, but free has helped heal a part of me that I didn't even know was possible to heal. And I think it comes with that community. Like, again, all of that negative self-talk, all of that I don't have value. Right? Like, so to be on stage and like to be... Right?
People were crying hearing you talk.
Right? But like my voice tells me no one wants to hear what I have to say. Nobody cares that I'm up there.
Because it wasn't your voice first.
100%. And that's the ACA stuff, right? It's like that I wasn't wanted. I was nothing but a burden. I was, like that stuff is so hard to heal. Like, of course the addiction is, right? Obviously that is too. I'm not saying that that's not, but most of us, that first
trauma
right, it's that first core wound. And that was how my conception of God came from my original birth parents, right? Of like, God doesn't want me. Like, God wants nothing to do with me. It's all for you guys. You guys are the chosen ones, right? You're the wanted ones. And it was like I didn't have access to that. But
it's hard to hear. It's just like that. I mean,
it's not. I don't think it's that like unusual. I bet you so many people feel that way.
Well, it's hard to, as I look at you here, that it breaks my heart for you that that's been your inner voice for so long. Like I don't know, since I just see the opposite as a friend. Like that's just, it's hard to. But it's important to hear because, like you said, there's people that struggling with that so quietly and silently, and it's killing them.
Yeah, and it takes somebody to be like, I'm calling you out, and I know it might make you uncomfortable, but like, this is your opportunity, and if you don't want it for you, like I need it for you. So.
Well, and it's also like, again, I think I say this all the time, and I do not say this lightly, that I have the world's greatest job, because I do have exactly like what Ryan was talking about in his talk this morning, right? Like I take my deepest wound. I am not wanted and no one cares about what I have to say. And what I get to do is I get to help everyone every single day when I show up. I get to help someone like your story matters. You matter. I'm so glad you're here. You belong here. Right? So like and like selfishly, I still heal myself by telling that wound or like that wound and saying that like you're not alone in this and like you're welcome with your doubts. You're welcome in your mess. So many women come to me and tell me all of their sexual shame and why they're these like unworthy, discarded, like, I hear that on a daily basis. And what I get to do is go back to that original wound of why we were this way in the first place. And most of my healing has been coming through loving those parts. And there's obviously some days that are better than others that I don't love my origin story. And there's other days that if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Man, you said you checked 3 of the boxes. So you're an alcoholic.
Yep, Al-Anon. So a loved one of an alcoholic. I am the only sober person in my family, so it runs rampant in my personal life, my family lineage. Back in California, I was my only friend who got sober. I lost a lot of friends.
That's hard.
It was not easy. Yeah. I lost a lot of friends. They didn't know how to deal with me when I got sober. And there was a lot of people who benefited from me sick. They loved.
I know that feeling.
Yep. They loved what I did for them. They loved, I was a really fun drunk. I was very generous. I was very kind. I would do anything. I was like down for whatever. I was the person you called at 3 a.m. who wanted to go do that crazy adventure.
God, it's a good thing we did not live in the same
I know. City. Like I'd be like, sign me up. I was the first phone call.
Shit down.
Oh my gosh.
Now she's in bed by 7:30.
I know.
Yes and amen.
But I feel like because I like
not today. We got a big dinner out of
this. This is my big night. This is my big night. But I did. I lost a lot of friends, and that was hard for me because again, I had this message.
It's a community, right?
Nobody wants me well. Everybody loved me more when I was sick. Everybody loved me more
when they were getting something out of me.
Yeah, and I was small, and I was quiet, and I didn't complain. I was like every dude's best friend. I was every girl's wingman, and like no competition. Like I was everyone's like, I don't know. I was whatever you needed me to be. But I had no idea who I was. I didn't have any idea that I could have worth just being me without giving you something.
How long did it take you to find ACA?
So ACA was actually my primary program, believe it or not. I had gone to treatment. I went to inpatient treatment for trauma. I was actually convinced that if I could just clear up all the trauma, then I could drink like a normal person. I had no, I mean, I can't say that I didn't know that I had a drinking problem because I knew from very early on. But again, I was the only, like, no one around me was sober.
So many problems.
Yeah.
So to pinpoint.
Well, and it was like, nobody blames me. If you had my life, you would drink too. Like, nobody blames me. But I went to treatment for trauma, and you had to be sober.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, there's a really good program I can let you guys know. But it was in Arizona. I went to Sierra Tucson.
They're not few and far between.
Yes. But I was I honestly was 100% convinced.
Inpatient res.
Inpatient, yep. And then I also did, as soon as I got out, again, trauma. I actually had a really good one in my hometown, but trauma focused.
Yeah.
They do require sobriety, so I was a dry drunk at the time. I was not working Alcoholics Anonymous. But you had to pick a 12-step program. So, of course, I picked ACA because it was still everyone else's fault. Because if you all weren't this way, I wouldn't be this way. So I picked ACA, and you had to get through your 3rd step. But I had gotten to my 4th step, and there was no way in hell I was going to read that to anyone. I had so much shame, so much self-hatred of what was done to me or what I had done or who I was at the core. And I was so ashamed of, if you really saw this, it's a big yellow workbook. So talk about the big red book. There's still another big yellow workbook. It's intense, but it's amazing. But it was basically at the core of this. If you saw this 4th step, you would see how truly broken I was and how truly unlovable I am. Like, this is, and at the time, the IOP that I went to, they have a psychiatrist who helps you discharge you or whatever. And they referred me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm stuck on this 4th step. I can't
What's a 4th step?
So the 4th step is when you do your inventory, right? So there's in any 12-step program, each step has so the 4th step is your inventory. So you look at so in ACA, it's all of your shame. So you talk about who in your family.
Just light stuff.
Oh my God. It's basically your trauma folder of who and what you are, all the things you've done, all the things you regret, all the things that were done to you, right? It's not for the faint of heart.
Like the Mount Everest of steps.
Yeah. It's intense.
And then you have
to go tell someone this.
Okay.
And again,
tracking.
I was not going to tell you. I wasn't going to tell you any of this. And mainly because I still believed at the time, because I believed I deserved it, or I believed that these things happened to me because I was somehow, I don't know, bad or just
unworthy, or that's
right. It didn't matter why. That's just what I had always known myself.
And so luckily this therapist was like, I do not know how to help you. But he's like, I don't know. He's like, but there's this woman, maybe she can help you. Classic. She's like a rock star in the recovery world. He's like, I don't know what to do with you. And so this lady, her name is Janine. She agreed to meet me for coffee because of this recommendation from this guy. And at the time, she wasn't sponsoring anyone. I found out later, she had just lost a mom who had twins. She had died of an overdose. And so here I am, twins. And
she was a sponsee?
God. She was my sponsor.
Right, but who she lost was her
lost a sponsee. And then she took a break from sponsoring. Yeah. And then here I come from with twins.
One of those, she didn't even have a choice.
Nope. No, and I didn't know this at the time. No idea. So we meet at this.
Very good disclosure boundaries.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's
right.
Sorry.
Amazing. We went to coffee, And I told her, I'm like, well, this is how we're going to do it. This is my 4th step. And like, this is how you are going to, like, you're going to fix me. Like, and this is my roadblock. And you need to tell me how to fix this now.
She had some work to do.
And so she was like, you're real cute. But before you do this, my friend, like, you need to go to this meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was like, but I'm not an alcoholic. Like, that's not my problem. And she's like, okay.
It's not your problem.
She's like, okay, could you just go and then like come back to me? And at this time I was still a dry drunk. So like that's actually not my sobriety birthday. Is not the last time I took a drink. But I had gone in the very first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous I went to. I count that as my sobriety.
Really?
Yep. I'd actually had the last drink back in December, but I count the first day I walked into Alcoholics Anonymous.
All the way to October?
Yep.
So 10 months.
10 months of a dry drunk.
That's a whole story in power that people need to hear in and of itself. That's.
I mean, partially.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm finding out new things.
I'll tell you that part, like not cheating, but I was inpatient and then
There was
IOP.
structure
There was.
to
I mean,
some.
I was confined,
Well,
and
so-
then
I mean,
I was not.
my
like,
day was the day I checked into detox.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
no, but even this is not
literally.
I don't want to say this is necessarily a bad thing for trauma focused, but they were feeding me Xanax.
Okay.
Like you wouldn't believe in treatment, like where it was like, oh, that's really hard trauma.
Yikes.
Take this, right? Like so.
Everything's both good and bad.
I mean, I'll tell you, it helped me a lot. Like I had to do what I did to get to where I am. So I don't want to like. And it was exactly what I needed at the time, and I don't think I could have done it. But the IOP required full sobriety, so I had to get off all of that medication. But yeah, I count my sobriety birthday as the very first day I walk into Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's when I knew I was like, oh, the gig is
That's
up.
important,
Like
yeah.
I'm.
That's
in
like
the
your full surrender.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, I got this. And
You
so,
went kicking and screaming. I love it.
I was not going to go. I was the girl in the back, hoodie up. I wasn't going to talk to
Right,
anyone.
'cause it's not you.
I think I
was-
remember this story from the restaurant that you were the girl in the back with the hoodie up.
Yeah.
Kind of
And
piss and vinegar.
Oh my gosh. And my anxiety was so bad. I would literally twist myself in this pretzel of like, I couldn't sit in a room full, and this was all women.
But
and,
didn't something happen in that room?
I mean, a lot happened in that
there, yeah.
room. A lot happened in that room, but it was a woman who had shared,
This is it.
yeah,
Can you stop interrupting?
no.
This is crazy. I remember this conversation.
Yeah, there was a woman who shared about her sexual abuse, and then I was, and she was a mom, and for me there was so much shame of like, and I know this may not make sense to anyone who hasn't been there, but I didn't know what I didn't know until I knew it, like where it was like, I didn't realize that not everybody experienced that. I didn't realize, I'm like, oh, like that's not what your moms didn't do that, like, oh, your dads don't talk to you that way? Like, I didn't have any idea.
Wow, that's
No
you
idea.
don't know,
You
especially
how would I
about
know?
stuff that people don't talk about.
No. And so, like, when I heard somebody else say that out loud, and I was exactly, and I was like, okay, like, so I'm in the right place.
Right.
Um,
but it took someone saying it.
To be brave enough to say, hey, this happened to me, and hey, guess what? This is what I did.
at the restaurant. That's the story when because the in the back with the hoodie on.
Yeah.
I remember that's what and you told that to Ashley when I said how it's a life-changing
Yeah.
Denver
I think
trip.
that was in your first sermon too.
Yeah.
The hoodie story.
That's the guy. It's just powerful, and I mean, it sounds, pardon the pun, but like a free liberation when that, like an angel fucking moment that.
Like if you told that girl, hey friend, buckle up. In 9 years, you're going to be living in Denver, Colorado on a stage with lights and a microphone, and you're going to be talking about your trauma and telling everyone, like, hey, this is who I am, and talking about your deepest, darkest. Like,
You'd have said, sign me up.
No.
right? I never would have done
Twilight
it.
Zone shit.
Had you told me, like, hey, sweetheart, like, guess what's going to happen, baby girl? Like, you're going to be going to St. Louis to a church conference.
Ryan made fun of you about today.
Oh my God. And right? Like, Because at first, like, I didn't know that.
Oh, he was hard on you on the personal story too. I forgot to.
He is hard on me all the time. For someone who doesn't do shame.
In the best sort of way, though. Hard on her in the best sort of way.
He goes, I'm not going to do. No, I am. How do you define God? Like, or something. It was something really.
In a room full of pastors.
I didn't say it exactly
yes,
like
did.
that.
I said, who is
God to you? I didn't say you define God. It's hard.
Different, but still hard.
A room full of pastors on stage.
All leaders.
With the microphone in my hands.
And you're like, I'm not worthy to even have the microphone.
No, she said, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Okay, here's why we did that, though. Because when we do a guest storyteller at Free on a Saturday night, we generally end with
hope.
Like, hope. How do you give... What would you say to someone barely hanging on? Or what would you say to someone who's struggling with this issue we're talking about tonight? And it's a beautiful moment, usually. But I'm sitting up there with Karie today, and I'm like, oh, shit, we didn't talk about how to end this thing. I can't ask that question. That would be like a total flop, asking that question in this room. So, what question?
Yeah,
I know what I'm going to ask her. Who's God to you? And that was just the question that came to mind.
Trick out of my...
But someone said today when we were in the lobby of the hotel getting the car, someone was walking by that heard Karie answer this question, and he said, yeah, it was so beautiful because we could all see that your story was coming to this moment of like, oh, that's God. And then when you said, and I forget exactly how you said it, God didn't bring me this far to just leave me this far. Is that how you said it?
To only take me here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's so... It was almost like we planned it, but we didn't plan it at all. And now she's going to get a tattoo. Her next tattoo is, who is God to me?
There you go. We're going to get matching tattoos of, say, we're the unchurched.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I need to do some work around that word.
It's heroic shit. It's amazing what the presence you bring and how we, and I go back to that first Zoom call before Ashley and I flew out, and you were describing what the place that you guys built and the music that you use, a lot of Zoe, what you see, if not all of it is basically a copy and paste of what they did. And I remember going to dinner after your service, and I told Ryan, like, I'm struggling with a lot of guilt here because we want to do what you're doing, and I'm starting on third base. You built this in your backyard, and I have the gift of this church back in St. Louis that wants to dump resources into it. So thank you, but do you have permission to copy you? And Ryan, with like the smallest ego in the world, thank God, I don't know how you do that, but it's like, we didn't create this to keep it. We, created it because the world needs it. And it felt a little bit, I still feel guilty, but I feel a little bit let off the hook, and just following what you guys are doing has been, it's amazing. It's just, I can't even talk about the people and Zoe's. I tell your story about how you came a part of this. She was having coffee with Ashley one day, and I had a meeting. Ashley's, the coffee shop is where the church offices are, is on the bottom floor of this tower in Brentwood, and I had a meeting at the church offices, and I saw them 2 meetings, so I hijacked their meeting like I do, and said, Zoe, why don't you come on Wednesday nights? We need your help. And she's like, all right, I'll be there. And Zoe,
I just like hanging out with Ashley. It was like post internship, and I was like, okay.
And something, I did not at all take this, and she hasn't missed a Wednesday, and has served and helped with kids and helped organize the pizza, and comes from her own personal story. A lot of this is pretty relevant to her, but a child of, and has been through the ringer, and I think has found a pretty cool community in these short 4 months.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like, we look forward to it all week.
Worst
yeah,
time.
right. Sure.
I was ready for this.
You were. You wait, I don't have to dress up, then sign me up. And the whole experience with meeting the people at both your services. You have this amazing building. It's a dream to have some type of, like, the cafe is such a cool, and where people can come, and I look at it as a place where if somebody's grinding out there and struggling in this world of active addiction and needs a quiet place in a booth and a cup of coffee, like you guys are open for that. And yeah, it's a dream to get there. You said something about, and I won't mention his name just in case it's anonymous, but you told a story about another gentleman in your church. And as we wrap up to get to dinner, I don't want to miss this. I could go another 3 hours with you guys, but I know everybody's hungry, so I'll try to land the plane in a second. Will you guys do
30 minutes?
Yeah, I have a hard time. My exit strategy is horrible, but Ashley's texting me already. Like, are you guys on your way? You guys do baptisms at Free.
Yep.
Start with, because I don't know if I've heard this. Why do you? The significance of the wagon, which is the name of your cafe, right? Or the coffee?
Tammy's Coffee.
Okay. Sorry.
So she is a coffee roaster. She owns Wagon Coffee Roasters. 20 years roasting experience. 2020, she gave the middle finger to the pandemic and said, "I'm going to start a business."
God bless
Hell
her.
yeah.
So she told you she was.
Yeah,
That's what Dolce did, too.
it's really good coffee. She roasts on site. Wagon Coffee Roasters. Plug to you, Tammy
Yes.
Canaday, wagoncoffeeroasters.com.
Oh my gosh, we'll link
we
it.
will absolutely.
Yeah,
Wow.
she roasted on site. That's what we serve in our cafe.
I love that.
And I think she's in, just last year, she's in every state.
Yes.
So you can get it online,
Oh my
get your
God.
coffee.
And
It's
who
great
does
coffee.
she
women, yeah.
employ?
She
at
also
the-
helps
She
women.
employs women in recovery. So it's,
I love that.
yeah,
She's
she's
amazing.
badass.
No, I
doing
want
some
you to
big
hear
things.
this. It's incredible. It's like right up your alley. She all the women we met, we bought all the swag and stuff for all these women in recovery, and you just don't, they don't have to say a word, and they've some of them, I bet, feel the most at home that they've ever felt in their life being in this community and at this cafe.
Yeah.
Like they would rather be nowhere else.
Yeah.
So you serve it, and then there was the wagon is significant to you. Why?
Yeah. So here's a story that I like it so much. Is it on this side?
Other
I
side.
never know which, because I can't see my neck, but
Oh my
got a
gosh.
wagon tattoo.
Me neither,
Star.
between the chins. But go ahead.
It's a showstopper, man. So I was at the LA Rescue Mission in LA at Los Angeles and took a tour with the executive director. This is the largest rescue mission in the country. I think it is. But he took us up to the top floor where they have their memorabilia. And on the top floor, on one of the walls, is a huge, black and white photo of this old wagon with people standing around it. And I'm asking, what's the story of the wagon? And he tells me the story. He says, that's how this mission got started in the late 1800s. This wagon would go into the roughest parts of L.A., and when they would, late at night, they would distribute food, clothing, Bibles. And then at the end of the night, they would welcome anyone who wanted to get on the wagon to jump on if they wanted to go back to a place of recovery.
I'm screaming.
It's like the wagon trails of Compton.
Yes. Total. And wild places existed from what I hear in the late
I bet they
1800s
were
in
wild.
LA. And so this is mind-blowing to me
Yeah.
when I'm hearing this story. And he says, if you get a bunch of drunk people on a wagon, what happens?
Oh my God.
What
Like
happens?
If you give a
Think-
mouse a cookie.
What happens if you get a bunch of drunk people on a wagon? Somewhat fall off the wagon.
Oh my God. I was like, I don't know. I've never
This is
I
where
know
the,
the wagon.
this is
I'm
where
new
the
to all
phrase
the-
comes from. I did not know this
Falling
until
off the
fall off
wagon.
the wagon. I'm on the wagon. I'm off the wagon.
Okay.
But
What he says is when that would happen, when the drunk ones would fall off, the sober ones, the wagon would stop and the sober ones would jump off and help the drunk ones back on. Why? Because they knew where they were headed.
Wow.
And so I'm hearing this story, and I should have showed that picture this morning. It's on my phone.
Don't shit on yourself.
I will not show it on myself. But I have this picture because I got out my phone and I took a picture of the wall. And I said, man, if we ever start, in my mind I'm saying this, I'm having this conversation. If we ever start anything new, a wagon is going to be the central image.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's for me, that's like church at its best. That's humans at their best. Like the wagon
Church is a
stops.
verb, yeah.
Yeah, and it's we got to run with that.
The one sheep.
Yeah. Yes.
See?
Okay.
And another. He's dropping all kinds of Bible
Chris
knowledge.
knows the Bible. Chris knows the Bible.
You've read that thing.
Kinda.
So yeah, we do baptisms in our wagon. I had a buddy of mine, Tilden. Shout out to Tilden, and he's in construction. He's one of those guys that's really good with tools and good with his hands. You know those people.
Yeah. Every time I look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Important people.
Very important people.
In this world.
Jesus was a carpenter. Chris is not a carpenter.
I'm screaming.
Either's right.
Imagine that.
So the I think this is going to be the first of a couple episodes. We want to have you guys even remotely. We figure it out. There's just too much to talk about. There's too much work we have to do, and I think this is that. But you ended, and this is kind of tags along with, because you mentioned it too. There's something you do different on you ask a lot of questions, and it's full submersion, right? So you're sitting in the wagon, and before you dunk your head, go through that you shared today, because that's when I had to hand Ashley the tissue box and sneak one for myself, but I'm not a crier because I'm a big tough guy.
So we ask a bunch of questions. But there's one question I always end with. So if you're sitting in a wagon and, it's 4 or 5 feet. So you can't lay in it, but you sit in it and then we dunk. And Karie hit on it earlier. She said how many people walk in with this sense of, I don't know what words you use, shame or abandonment or whatever it is. The brokenness, walk in like totally thinking they're not worthy. No one wants me. God certainly doesn't want me. And so they walk in feeling like damaged goods. Throwaways. If you've been through,
it's because it's so good.
She's gonna
it's
start crying.
Every time I hear this, I want to cry, and I've heard it
she cried from stage.
Every time. But keep going.
It's always a cry.
Yeah. So after I ask a set of questions, I end with, "Do you confess you are not damaged goods?"
Dunk me.
Some of them are fuck. When you know what people have been through, and so you're baptizing these people, and you know a piece of their story, and you know what they've been through. So I talked about Fredo today. I can talk about him publicly.
Okay.
I told him, I said, dude, I'm going to be sharing your story.
Please. It's really, really important.
Yeah. Fredo was coming every week with his girlfriend to Free. He was a staple in our community. 6 months go by. I'm like, where's Fredo? Fredo's not there. Yeah. I walk into Free one Saturday. I'm setting up chairs in the big room, and I see Fredo that afternoon sitting on one of our back couches. We have couches in the big room. And he's got his head in his hands, and his face is down. And I said, Fredo, dude, it's so good to see you. Right. It's been a minute. And he looks up at me and he says, man, I relapsed. And he said, I promise you, we were holed up in a hotel. We were using together. And I promise I left for 5 minutes. I went down the hallway to get something from the vending machine, and I came back, and she was already gone. And Pastor, I tried everything I could do. I tried to save her. And I couldn't bring her back. And she died that night. And he's telling me the story and starts telling me how much God is against him, how much he hates himself, how unworthy he is. And this shame is just, it's coming out of every pore, oozing out of his body. And that night I announced that we were going to do baptisms in a couple months. And he was the first one. He stayed for the service that night. And he was the first one to come up to me afterwards and say, I want to get baptized. And when we baptized him, his daughter was with him, holding his hand. She still comes with him. It's a beautiful moment. But she was holding his hand. And when I asked him that question, Fredo, got tattoos everywhere. Fredo, do you now confess that you are not damaged goods, that God has always been with you, even when you were making a mess of things, and God is still with you now and will always be with you no matter what? That dude starts crying. His daughter, it was just such a beautiful moment. And then, of course, water is symbolic of new life. And so going in the water, coming out of the water. Yeah. I love our baptisms, actually.
Actually.
Yeah, now that I tell the story, I love how we're doing it.
Tear hasn't slipped out yet.
Karie, you were baptized at Free.
Right? I was. And I want to go back really fast to what you were saying about why we believe in that radical generosity and why we give this away for free. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because of the end of that story or I just get one of the things that we know very, very, very well, like, so we have our mission statement, and that's a lot of the way that we like judge, like what we say yes to, what we don't say yes to, right? Like we stick with our mission statement. But one of the major things that we've also learned along the way, that if we're in competition with anyone, we're doing it wrong. And one of the things, like when you talked about like going around to the other treatment centers, and when you talked about other recovery, other recovery, centers or whatever, if you get rid of the business of recovery and you remember that you're literally saving people's lives, you're giving them that opportunity to finally believe they're not damaged goods. You're finally giving them that not everyone's going to take a hold of that hand that's reached out to them on that wagon. Not everyone's going to say yes, but to the ones that do, there is no monopoly on recovery. There is no and if so, that is when, I don't know, at least for us, that we know that that's when we're doing something wrong. So I would encourage, again, when you're other treatment centers, other recovery programs, the disease of addiction does not discriminate, right? It'll take
it's radically inclusive.
Anyone. So we need to be the same on the other side, that we've got to take everyone and we've got to work together.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you were saying that making people realize they're not damaged goods is giving them that foundation to recovery, as opposed to, someone can stop drinking for health reasons, or like you did and be that that dry drunk, which is a very dangerous way to live life. And it can be better. And I don't think it's sustainable. I think when you get to that foundation that you are not damaged goods and you are worthy, people can really live this a life of sustainable recovery. And that's what you guys were doing. I'll say it again. It was a life-changing trip for us. I think this is just the beginning, and I cannot wait to meet the next Ryan and Karie and Chris and Zoe and Ashley and people that are still out there right now, struggling and grinding. And what I always say is we have to be invitational to this and be the light so they can find us. And
standing on the surfboard.
And they're gonna be the next round of people that we need, because it's an army we're building against a really powerful disease of loneliness and darkness and shame that drives people to self-medicate. And I cannot thank you both enough. Next time we got to get Tammy out here to talk all things coffee.
She's taking care of the kids.
Somebody's got to take care of the 4.
We have 17 kids. And,
Holy shit.
No.
I was
Only
like,
4.
damn, Duggars.
I have one, and I have one, and it feels like 6 sometimes. So
yeah.
Charlie.
And you have twins that are going to be turning 18, right?
Next month.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm a single mother.
To Kimberly, her dog. Yes.
She's 38% boxer.
She's
and some pit bull and some lab. And
we love Kim.
A lot of good times.
But you guys are pioneers, and I mean that. And it's funny, we were building, and I'll tell you this because I don't know if she knows it, but when we were building this team of this launch team for Underground, I kept saying, Ashley, you can't be my Karie, because you're my wife. I need somebody. So I need I'm like, Renee is my Karie, and I've said this before. We need that. So I'm like, I have.
Do
to
we
have
get to meet
Karie.
Renee Wednesday?
Renee should be there Wednesday night. Yeah.
Good.
You guys are coming Wednesday?
So Ryan's preaching.
We extended our trip just for Wednesday night.
So so they're gonna be like, this looks familiar, but they can run the whole show. It's their service. So Ryan,
love that.
so Renee, right now she's told her story, but she does the microphone for Celebration and our Who's Hurting, which is you guys call it Heartaches. And then I think the only thing different is we bring those to we offer an open communion for everyone. But that's I need to know what music you want too, so we'll talk about that tonight at dinner. But yeah, Renee, when we were built, it's funny. We like, okay, well, I need a Karie, because this thing doesn't work without. Shout out to my girl here, right?
Behind every great man is an even greater woman.
Bingo.
Said it once, and say it again.
It's true. That's true.
So I appreciate you guys so much, and eternally grateful, and I look up to you and learn a lot from you, and your message today was great. And I always close by saying, "Let us pray." But Ryan's closing message to this room full of church leaders and pastors that want to reach new people, and his you give the quick story of Abraham, and then so we can close on that how you close today.
Yeah. Well, first it was Abram, then changed to Abraham.
It's like so 2 for 3.
I know, right? That's
so. Abram was given this incredible invitation from God to step onto this new land, step into this new path. And so Genesis chapter 12, and there's this conversation between God and Abram, and God says, Abram, I'm gonna go with you. You need to step onto this new land. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. And by the way, Abram, I'm gonna bless you, and you're gonna be a blessing to all these other people, because it's not just about you. You're gonna get this thing done for you, but it's actually so you can help other people. Hello, recovery. And I imagine Abram having this conversation with God, like, yeah, that's very cute of you, God, but we have this cyclical view of the world here, and my life is already set for me, and this is the way things are. You know the way things are. I can't just step out and do this new thing. So he's got all this fear, all these excuses of why he can't do it, and then you get that one verse in chapter 12. 12 verse 4. Someone will correct me on that. I think it's 12:4. And it's 3 words. So Abram went. With all the fear, all the anxiety, all the uncertainty. And look at your own story. Look at all the fear you have, all the unknowings. And I can't just step out onto a new path. This is the way it is. And I've got these bills to pay. Yeah. And we've got all these excuses. So you went. With all the fear, all the anxiety, all the unknowing. Yeah, and sometimes God says, finally, good. Now we can get somewhere.
I feel like he'd be saying that. I feel like most times he's like picking it up a step. Finally, thank you.
Well, guys, this is just incredible.
Yeah, this is so fun.
As Pastor Ryan said, so Abram went. Let us pray.
Pondoff's Anonymous is hosted by Chris Pondoff with Zoe Mendenhall and Jeff Allen. Produced, engineered, mixed, and filmed by Jeff Allen. Recorded at Illinois Recovery Center in the Pondoff's Anonymous Studios. Music by McCall. The track is Anti-Hero. This podcast shares stories. It's not a substitute for professional help. If you need support, visit pondoffsanonymous.com and contact us.
Mornings need more than motivation. They need a solid cup of coffee. Light in the Dark is the Pondoff's Anonymous Dark Roast, created with our friends at Long Story Coffee. Bold, smooth, and built for the days when you just need something steady. Every bag helps support the conversations and community behind the show. Order online for delivery, shipping, or local pickup at pondoffsanonymous.com/coffee. Light in the Dark Coffee. A little light, even on heavy days.